All right, so today we're looking at the top 5 carry guns that make no sense to buy in 2022. This is part 2. If you want to check out part 1, I'll leave a link down below and a card up top so you can check out that video. But this is a video that's not going to make a lot of y'all happy. At least some of y'all. You may not even like me. You may unsubscribe after this video, but just keep in mind, this is just my opinion on all of this. None of it's a matter of fact, strictly my opinion. So there's going to be some guns that we get into today, but I want to do it a little bit different than the first time. So not only am I going to tell you the guns that make no sense to buy, but I'm going to give you an alternative to that gun that I think would be a better option. So we're going to be looking at some guns today that make no sense to buy in 2022. But one thing that does make sense is today's sponsor, and one I am super excited about, from Kershaw Knives, man. Check this out. I've been able to come through for the community here once again, this time from Kershaw Knives, and these guys have set up a 20% off discount code for all of my viewers and subscribers here. Use the code HEGSHOT87. I'll leave a link down below for your convenience, and I've personally been carrying the Launch 7 and the Launch 13 for over a month now. And I gotta say the Launch 7 is my favorite. It's got the drop point style blade, feels really good in the hand. They all have a low profile button. They're automatic folders. So as soon as you hit that button, you have a really solid lockup. They open up really quickly. And I just like a bigger knife. Now they also sent me the Launch 10, which is a smaller knife, different blade setup, still an automatic folder, and it's a cool knife as well. They have a ton on their website that you can check out and see something you like. Use that discount code down below. All made in the USA, reversible clips from left to right, tip up the way God intended. And then of course they use quality materials for their blades, for their handles, and all their good stuff as well. So big thanks to Kershaw Knives for coming through for the community here. If you see something you like, use the code HEGSHOT87 at checkout to save yourself 20% off of anything on their website. So we recently reviewed the macro, the P365X macro. A lot of rounds in this gun, dude. It's on the bigger end of carry. But let's go ahead and start this thing off with the Sky CPX2. I'm going to throw up the specs here so we don't have to spend a whole lot of time on that stuff. But spec-wise, it's actually pretty good. It falls in line with a lot of today's carry guns. You actually have a 10-round magazine. You get 2 of those, and all for about 200 bucks, 250 bucks. So it seems like a pretty good bargain actually, right? And I had heard so many good things about this gun before I bought it. I probably would have said that Sky makes a good gun. And I'm kind of embarrassed to say that because I don't ever really recommend anything until I've put my hands on it, I've shot it, I make sure it works, blah, 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 blah. But this one I had heard so many good things, I just believed it. But then I go to shoot it, and less than 50 rounds in, the gun literally has a stoppage to the point where I can't even fire it any longer. So the magazine kept dropping out, and I guess the magazine return spring, or the spring in the magazine catch, I should say, actually broke. So the magazine would no longer seat in the gun. So I sent it back to Sky. They sent it back to me. I want to say it was about 2 weeks process turnaround time. I no longer have any more interest in this gun. You know, if it breaks, let's say a recoil spring breaks at, I don't know, 5,000 rounds. That's pretty common. But when a gun fails on me in the first 50 rounds, it's not even a break-in. It's not like I had a stovepipe. It just failed on me. Yeah, I no longer have any use for it except to do videos like this and tell you what not to buy. But a better alternative if you're on a budget, I've shown it so many times, the Taurus GX4, you get 11 plus 1 in the pipe. This has been an astonishing gun. Honestly, for the price, man, it has been really, really good. The Taurus GX4 is a great alternative. If you're looking at something on a budget, but you want something that I can say works, at least it has up to this point, this is definitely a great option. Next gun we're going to talk about is the VP9 SK. Now, don't get me wrong, dude. I absolutely love this gun, dude. And I did a video, a short, actually some time back, maybe a year ago or so. This gun still impresses me, and why HK has not done a micro version of this gun, slimmed it down, cut the weight, make sure you keep that 10-round capacity is beyond me. But if you look at the specs of the gun, 23 ounces, again, I'm gonna throw it up so we don't have to spend a lot of time with it, but it's on the heavier end of things. It's on the thicker side of things, right? And so for a 10-round gun, it really makes no sense to buy it. Although like I said, I love this gun. Trigger, the side panels, if they keep everything the same, except thin it down, maybe even add more capacity. I mean, with the technology that these companies have been using, they might be able to get 12 out of a gun like this. So I really enjoy this gun, but it doesn't make any sense to buy when you have something like the P365. Now, I would love to show you a micro version of the HK VP9, but they just don't have that yet. But the P365 kind of started this whole thing, and they had some issues when they first came out. But if you look at these guns side by side, you'll see what I'm talking about here. You have the P365 on your left, VP9 on your right. You can see how much thicker and heavier, well, you can't really see how much heavier it is, but you can see how much thicker the VP9 actually is. Now, I do not have the flat base plate. I lost it somewhere along the way, and I know I've been saying this for months now, but regardless, this gun is going to be smaller. It's going to be easier to conceal. It's going to be lighter. You're looking at, 17 ounces, right, on the P365, and then 23 ounces on the VP9 SK. That's a big difference when you're talking about everyday carry, all day, every day. So, again, this just makes no sense to buy with it being as big as it is. It definitely needs an update, the VP9 SK. All right, we're getting into territory that is not going to make some of y'all happy, but it is what it is. My job is to give you my opinion, review guns, and as I see it, the Glock 26. Now, I can already hear you typing, and this isn't even the one that I think is super controversial, but I can already see you typing your comments, how I suck, and this channel, I hope it gets deleted, whatever it may be, but just hear me out here. The Glock 26, I just made a video on how this is the only Glock that still impresses me because it's mid-90s technology, although this is a Gen 4. It's mid-90s technology. You have 10 in the pipe. The specs on it are pretty decent. 21.5 ounces, so it's lighter than the VP9 SK. Again, you have a 10-round gun here. I added the Trijicon sights, by the way, so it's got a short overall frame. Of course, you're going to be able to get the mag compatibility between the 19, the 17, the 18, the 33-round mags or whatever, but still, why would you buy this when you can buy... Now, this would not be my first choice. Let me go ahead and make that perfectly clear, but if you like Glock, the Glock 43X. Now, there's a caveat to this, and I I have to explain this to people because somebody's gonna be like, I thought you hated the 43X, blah, blah, blah. And it's not about me hating it. Okay, you're right. I don't really care for this gun a whole lot, right? I think the trigger is worse than what it is in the 26 or any of the other Glocks, to be quite honest with you. But what you gain here is a lighter gun. You're gonna get a thinner gun, right? If we're looking at them there, if we're looking at them here, it's pretty clear. You have the 43X on your left and the G26 on your right. And there's a reason I chose the 43X. I would not replace the 26 with a Glock 43, the 9mm version that's only 6 rounds. No way, dude. The Glock 43 is another one. Maybe we'll do that for a part 3 or something, but the 43X at least gives you that 10-round capacity, same as the 26, thinner, lighter. Now, here's the part of this I don't really like and why I was hesitant to kind of do this. You almost have, what, 3/4 of an inch there in difference between the 26 and the 43X. That does two things. That makes the 26 easier to conceal, harder to shoot. The 43X makes it a little harder to conceal, but a little bit easier to shoot because you get a full grip on the gun and a little bit, maybe a little bit easier to draw out of a holster. So again, there's compromises. No matter what gun you pick to carry, there will be some kind of compromises on all of them. And that's the compromise here. But I think it may be worth it for some of you, not for me. This is not the way I would go, by the way. I would carry the 26. But I also think about how other people may see this. And if you're just coming into this and you don't know anything about it, the 43X might be a better option, thinner, lighter. The idea is for you to carry every single day. And if you have a gun that's kind of chunky, maybe a little bit heavy, that turns a lot of people off. And you may be totally different. You may say, dude, I carry a Glock 19 with 10 extra mags and a medical kit, and I carry my backup gun, which is also a Glock 19, and blah, 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 blah. Okay, well, you're better than the rest of us, I guess. But most people, weight, size will affect them, and more than likely, if it's too heavy, if it's too uncomfortable, that person will keep that at home. So there's alternatives here, so hopefully that won't be the case. And the 43X might be a better alternative to the 26. So before the comment section gets too crazy, we're gonna go with the M&P 9 subcompact. Now, if you're new here, welcome. I appreciate you joining me. But there is one thing, if you do know me, people know that I love the M&P series. I think it's among the best in the polymer frame striker fire market. I shoot them the best. I'm more accurate. I trust them. These things are incredible, dude. The subcompact has kind of lost its way, right? So when they redesigned the M2.0 series, they now have the compact, which is a 15-round gun, and the subcompact, and then the full size. So the subcompact, for the longest time, man, this was actually my very first gun I ever bought. It was the first gen. But you have a gun here with a flush base plate magazine of 12 rounds, interchangeable palm swells, so different size hands. That's all great. Fish scale style serrations, front and rear there. Iron sights, you got a shelf there, so if you need to do one-handed manipulations, you can do that. Amazing gun. But when you look at the specs on this gun, 25 ounces, unloaded, by the way. And it's a chunky monkey, man. You look at it, right? So I'm gonna bring in one here that is probably no surprise, but yeah. Shield Plus on your left there, guys. So 10 rounds, 12 rounds. If you're willing to make that compromise and get 2 less rounds, the Shield Plus is absolutely incredible. Now, of course, you're going to lose the ability to change the palm swells there, but you get an amazing trigger. The updated trigger in the Shield Plus is almost worth it in and of itself. Super reliable, 10+1 in the pipe. The Shield Plus is absolutely, without a doubt, I would have to say at this point, #1 on my concealed carry list, because it is just, it's so freaking accurate. It's incredible, dude. I really can't say enough good things about it. When we look at them like this, it's a smaller overall footprint and more comfortable to carry, and one heck of a shooter. Most of the time, when you step down in size, you lose a little bit of that shootability. But because this thing has such an amazing trigger and is so freaking just accurate, or I'm accurate with it, you don't really lose a lot of that, right? So it's a little bit thinner in the hand and all that good stuff, but absolutely incredible gun. If you're looking for an alternative to the M&P 9 subcompact, something more comfortable and just as good of a shooter, if not better, Shield Plus is where it's at. So if the 26 didn't make you blow your Glock top right off, this one surely will. This is the Glock 19. Now you got to hear me out. This is not necessarily like these other guns. They really make no sense to buy as carry guns any longer. This is more of an example of showing you the lack of innovation from Glock. Look, I own 4 Glocks, 4 or 5. You know, it's not like I hate these guys. And the Glock 19 does a lot of things really well, but it's 2022, and when you look at a gun like the Hellcat Pro, same capacity, thinner and lighter, it makes me wonder why Glock is not necessarily following suit, but innovating and changing things up, making theirs a little bit better suited for concealed carry, because a lot of people say they carry a 19 every single day with an extra mag, and I take them at their word. I don't really know. But regardless, you're at 23.5 ounces here. You're at 21 ounces with the Hellcat. It's thinner, it's lighter. It's just going to be easier to carry. Now you can get the 19 with the MOS version, right? And get it, you know, so you can actually put your optic on there, but you can see how much thinner the gun actually is. So, like I said, I have no problem with the 19. Some people are gonna say, well, the 19 is designed for, you know, fighting and protecting yourself and you know, outside the waistband or whatever, and all that may be true, but all of these guns are designed to save your life. You know, they may have different roles, but regardless. And then there's going to be some that say, yeah, but the Glock is more reliable than these other ones. And anybody that can look at these things subjectively past their own guns knows that most modern manufacturers, they're reliable. And if they have any issues, they get them fixed very quickly. So I don't even know that that's a thing anymore. Very rarely are you going to get guns like the Sky that I just showed you, which these are two different levels. The Sky is one I would never recommend to anybody for any type of thing except for maybe a boat anchor. I mean, really, I would never recommend anybody to carry, shoot, or trust their life to that gun because I've had a terrible experience with it. But if I know that Sky just had a random issue and they are a solid company otherwise, I wouldn't treat that gun like that. I just think it's a piece of junk, and I think there's a better option out there. This is a better option for concealed carry, and I would love to see Glock do some different things. Change it up, man, and really start to keep up with the times. No issue with the 19 at all. Don't get me wrong. It just doesn't make a lot of sense to buy this when you have something like this that's thinner, lighter, and easier to carry. Guns have different roles. They can't be everything, but if you're on the upper end and you want the maximum capacity and also have a gun that you can still comfortably carry, the Hellcat Pro is a really good option. And so is the P365 Macro. It's a little bit longer, but regardless, it is what it is. It's all about compromise. What are you willing to compromise and what aren't you? That, at the end of the day, is the most important thing. And whatever you're going to carry, as long as it's a 380, preferably a 9 and above, then you're doing something right. You're doing something that most people want, and that's what really matters. Thank you guys, man. If you like what I do and you want to support what I do, you can do that through Patreon. I'll leave a link down below. You can do it for literally $1 freaking a month. I appreciate all of you. See you in the next one, and as always, hold them down.